Everything going to be okay? Good morning and welcome. Thanks for coming to this workshop on assessment and reporting within the primary school. Clearly by the turnout, this is an important issue to you, and rightly so, it's very important to us as well. The presentation will be available shortly after the presentation today, so don't feel any pressure to take photos or notes, it's entirely up to you. Okay. Today I intend to talk you through many of the systems that we have in place here at Nord. I'll also talk to you about our termly reports and the improvements we are making this year. Hopefully everything I show you will be clear, but you are welcome to stay behind and speak to myself on this debate at the end. Before I go into the detail, I want to make something really clear. Our main reason for assessing children is to inform teaching and ultimately to improve the outcomes of your children. Tests will always grab the headlines, but it is our day-to-day assessing of your children in lessons that is the most important. I will talk you through the reasoning behind the assessments that we use and show you how they are helping to bring improvements. I'm sure it's no surprise to you that there are many systems which help us to build a clear picture of your child's achievements and areas of support. We use a carefully selected combination of ongoing assessments and tests. I'll be going through most of these individually in a moment. For anyone who's wondering, standardised means that the same test has been used against children of the same age in equivalent settings. It's seen as the benchmark assessment. You'll have to excuse me if I'm telling you something you already know, but I'd like to explain the two distinct forms of assessment to you, so that as I move through the rest of this presentation, you can see how they are very different yet complement each other. Formative assessment takes place every day, in every lesson. Teachers will reflect and adapt the following work in light of this. Summative assessment, on the other hand, takes a snapshot of a child's knowledge and understanding at a particular moment. Both are crucial and play an equally important role in education. When I was putting the presentation together, it struck me that some parents here may not be aware of the changes that have taken place in the UK assessment system. I feel it's important to give you that context so that you understand why we use the systems and the language that we do. I'm not a huge fan of slides that are packed with writing this way, but I just really wanted to make the point here, and if anybody wants to read over this again later, I wanted to make sure there's enough information. Several years ago, the UK government decided to remove levels from the national curriculum. You may remember children used to be told they were a level 3, or possibly even a 3C, a 3B or a 3A. Government research suggested these confused parents and gave an artificial ceiling to children's limits. It would be fair to say this created unintended consequences and resulted in thousands of different assessment systems between schools following the national curriculum. Some, understandably, were better than others. What it did provide was an opportunity to suit our school, its setting and children. But we acknowledge some parents might be concerned about standards and consistency between different schools. I will tell you today how we've addressed that. Something that we are striving towards at Doverboard is to use consistent terminology across the primary school, whether that's in reports or parent-teacher conferences. We hope that this makes it easier for parents to understand where their child is working. We believe the words here on the screen are easy to understand and show a clear progression. We're working hard on many moderation procedures to ensure that a securing or excelling grading at Doverboard would mean the same in other schools. We now move on to talk about the various tools we use to track progress day to day during lessons, the important formative assessment I talked about earlier. We will start with our youngest learners, and I'll hand over to my expert colleague and head of the early years foundation stage, Ms. Faye Davis.
Good morning. Some of you might know me, some of you might not. So I'm Miss Dennis. You'll find me just in the classroom around the corner. If anyone's got any questions, I can't stay behind afterwards. But if you see me around, you can catch me or just pop me an email at the end and I'll get back to you when I can. Our curriculum's a little bit different from the rest of the primary school. Everything that the children learn with their class teacher is mainly based on child-initiated learning, where the children get to choose what they would like to do, and then the teacher intervenes with their play and moves their learning forward through interaction. There are 7 main areas of learning, and each carry equal weights when the teacher is assessing that child. By the end of reception when the child is 5 years old, we expect them to reach the early learning goal by the end of that year, and there are targets that they work towards throughout the year which are covered in these 7 areas of learning. The way that the teacher records assessments is through observations of the children playing every day. They use an iPad, so you can see the teacher carrying around an iPad that's assessing your children. Everything that happens in the classroom, it could be a wow moment, something a child has never done before. It could be that the teacher spots that child achieving their next step. It's recorded on the programme Too Simple. This then is sent home to parents every 2 weeks. So as well as a formal assessment every term, you'll also have a 2-weekly update of what your child has been doing in class. It won't always be sort of a literacy and maths. We try and make it quite evenly spread across the 7 areas of learning. And if your child is working towards a target in a specific area, you might see a few more observations about that sort of learning goal. We try to aim towards having 2 observations from your class teacher every week, and we like to have our TAs as well looking at what the children are doing in their specialist subjects, just to get a more rounded picture of their achievements. Then I just popped a little example there of what to expect when you start to receive your learning observations at home. There's most of the time a picture of your child in action. If it is just a quote of your child, the teacher may have not had time to sort of snap a photo there and then. There's always a note that the teacher has written, so a description of what your child has been up to. Usually a conversation between the teacher and child will be put in there as well, and hopefully how that teacher intervened with their play to move their learning forward. The teacher will then decide on the next step for their child. It might be directly linked to what they're doing in that moment, or they might have thought of something, well actually we can use this experience to move them forward somewhere else. And then at the bottom, it will just give you the learning outcomes that teacher has decided that they achieve in that moment. We just keep that to 3 of the learning goals, just to, otherwise it's like pages and pages long. You can link their play to quite a lot of experiences. The most important part here that links to their reports is the age-related goals. So on this one you can see it says 30 to 50 months. We try and gauge that. At the minute we're saying our reception children have just come in, they should be meeting or exceeding that, moving into the 40 to 60 band, and then it's slightly lower with our nursery children, and again, they work through their age goals throughout their year with this year. That's all from me for this morning. We're going to teach phonics now.
Yeah. I know Ms. Davis has got to go back to class. If you do have any questions, you're welcome to approach Mr. Bain or myself, but if we can't answer them, then we'll direct you to Ms. Davis. Thank you very much. I see that we've got some parents here from our Pathways 3 and 4 classes, which is fantastic. In Pathways 3 and 4, we use software called D Squared to help us track and assess the children. We chose this particular tool as it's suitable for children from our early intervention class and reception, right through until the end of secondary school. It can even go beyond. Teachers can highlight each step of progress that they observe during the day, and the software helps to build a picture of everything that child will do. You'll notice we're using this language again and again this one. We're always trying to build up a picture of what the child can do. We'll also identify gaps which can become the child's targets, and these can be shared with parents either through the timely report or via the individual learning priority profile, better known as the ILP document. To assist us with reporting, it also conveniently produces a level and a percentage which we share with parents. Our teachers have recognised that this information can sometimes appear confusing when it's shown out of context on a page, and they would like to really explain this and what each child is working on, which is why we allocate longer for these discussions at parent-teacher conferences. I understand that this might be something that people want to ask questions on the end. You're very welcome to stay back and speak to us. Pathways 1 and 2 covers the vast majority of children within the school. These children are assessed continually against the national curriculum outcomes, and this is recorded on our assessment trackers. A mock example can be seen on the screen here. For each outcome that's covered in the class, the teacher will grade each child using our set criteria. They will meet to discuss these judgments with colleagues in their year group team, compare examples of work, and discuss why they have awarded different grades. For some outcomes it is very straightforward, but for others it can be more subjective, and it's those outcomes where we strive to ensure consistency across the year group. The tool that we use then works as magic and produces an overall judgment in the key areas for each subject, and this is what we report to parents. The information from these trackers also contributed to discussions at parent-teacher conferences. Leading on from the last slide, to help ensure the robustness of our daily assessment tool, we are currently trialling online assessments which measure progress in maths and English. We have selected GL Assessment for this, as they are the leading provider of formative assessment to UK schools. At this stage, we intend to use the data to inform teaching and help ensure reliability of internal assessment systems. It's hoped in the future we'll be able to share feedback through our parent-teacher conferences. I'll just stop on that one for a second. These tests are ongoing at the moment. Children are using their computing lessons to sit these tests. Some of them may have mentioned that they're doing this at home.
So what's GL stand for?
Good question. I can get you that one. They've been a provider in the UK for over 30 years, so I'll have to look back and see what the name came from originally. Yeah, okay. The content of the test mirrors the national curriculum outcomes for maths and English. As the children are sat in the ICT suites at the moment, they wear headphones for part of the test, and they answer questions on the screen by either selecting, dragging, or typing to give their answer. From year 3 onwards, the maths test includes a mental arithmetic section at the start. There's some examples of some questions there. The English test covers the technical side of writing, but not the more subjective, extended text types and narrative. We're doing separate moderation work on this in school throughout the year to ensure consistency in that area. Again, on this test, when the children start, they put their headphones on and they listen to a spelling test. Okay, reads out the spellings to them and they have to type it onto the screen. You can see in the top right there, that's what it looks like for the children when they're doing the spelling section. We've invested in a further product from GL, known as the PASS Assessment, standing for Pupil Attitudes to Self and School. Anyone who had children in Year 4 last year might already be familiar with this, as they completed our trial. The children complete a short survey, and the results can help us to identify children who might be at risk of underachieving. It allows us to put in support if required to try and prevent this. It's worth saying that most children who complete the survey, it will show that there are no issues at all. We see the PASS Assessment as an extremely useful tool in our arsenal to provide the best possible education for your children. I will just leave that one for a moment, as I know there's lots of things to read there. As a school, we were very keen to introduce something that really focuses on the children's well-being. We felt that this tool matched up perfectly. I should say it's to emphasise to the children that this is not a test. I've been referring to it as a survey. The children cannot get anything wrong. They are just encouraged to be as honest as they can on this. As you can see there, we've chosen, As you can see there, did you get your photo, sorry? Did you get your photo? Yes. As you can see there, we've chosen this tool as we want to prevent rather than react to any issues in school. We have an amazing support team here at Dover, and this survey helps us to match children to the services that they might need. You'll see it incorporates our SENCO, our SI, our counsellor. It brings together the teacher as well, and lets us, it helps to match children, as I say, to any services that they might need. As would normally be the case, if a teacher does decide to does consider a referral, you are involved at that stage of the process. Okay, so not that this is done without your knowledge. Okay, moving on to reports. An inevitable part of school life. Most children and parents really look forward to receiving them. We believe they're a great way to provide feedback about work in school and to set targets to help drive learning forward. The reports are part of our feedback that go hand in hand with our parent-teacher conferences. I'll provide all the dates towards the end of the presentation so that you can see when we have this done. We've made a small change this year in response to feedback that we heard. You'll notice behind me that terms 1 and 3 will be the main reports this academic year. There will be an update in term 2 which will provide information about work covered in class and a comment from the teacher. We hope this change will provide a better balance and ensure that each year ends with a more substantial summary. We're also aware that as some children move to different schools, they want us to take a full report with them at the end of the year. As we approach the publishing of the first report in December, we will share guidance with you on how to understand the report and also how to access it through the parent portal. For anyone that's new to the school and looking around, I can see some new faces today. We aim to provide parents with a good balance of information, both in the form of comments and gradings. These cover effort as well as attainment. We intend to use the same template for each report this year, so that it's easier to track progress from one term to the next.
I have a question. Can you send this presentation to us?
Yes, it's available through the website. Okay. I will just talk you through the report page by page so that you can see what's included in it. It does say at the top there that there are slight variations depending on where in school your child is working. If they're in pathways 3 or 4, if they're in EFS, then they might have a slightly different looking report, but it's all based on the same idea. Okay. We've been working very hard behind the scenes to try and ensure that. We want to make sure that the reports are appropriate to the children wherever they're working, and that's why we have those slight changes. Page 1, however, is fairly consistent across all reports. It will include an explanation of the descriptors that we use in the report. It will include gradings against key skills and statements that come from our school vision, and it will include a comment from the class teacher. For Maths and English, the comment on each report will have a different focus, as you can see behind me. Okay, term 1, term 2, term 3, we guide teachers to include a different thing in each comment so that it's not just a repetition of what you've had before. After the UK government scrapped the linear level system, some parents have asked us how they know that their child is making progress. As I've said here, if your child is maintaining the same banding from one term to the next or 1 year to the next, this indicates that they are making steady progress. When a child moves from developing to securing, or from securing to excelling, then that would indicate that they have made accelerated progress. So the National Curriculum for Maths and English. I should imagine that if you've had children in school for a while, you might be familiar with the content of each of these. You will notice that some areas only appear later in Key Stage 2. For example, ratio, proportion and algebra only move into the upper end of primary. Lots of things to cover. Busy time. Okay, for the project work comment section of the report, teachers will give a brief summary of the units and skills covered. They will then reflect on the different goals that the IPC covers. IPC standing for International Primary Curriculum, as well as the different assessment areas that you can see here. The IPC provides a huge amount of information to the school. It breaks up everything that's being taught into these different goals that we call them: subject goals, personal goals, and international learning goals. They also talk about 3 assessment areas in every unit: knowledge, skills, and understanding. We are further strengthening our formative assessment procedures in our project work this year. We're including a lot more self-reflection and self-assessment by the children to help this process, so you may hear your children talking about that. You may recall from the curriculum evening where Mr. Bain spoke that our specialist departments have expanded to involve more teachers, more facilities and more teaching time dedicated to these areas. On the report, you will find that your child's specialist teachers will inform you of the 3 topics covered that term, as well as providing you with grades for effort and attainment in each topic and targets to work on in the future. At parent-teacher conferences, you will find specialists located here in Cooper Hall, where you are welcome to meet with them and ask them any questions that you might have. It doesn't work on an appointment system. You just show up in the hall, take a seat, and wait until the specialist is available. Okay, I know people are quite keen to find out the dates and things throughout the year. We sometimes have to move 1-year groups, parent-teacher conferences a day here or there, but otherwise these should remain fixed throughout the year. As I said, this will be available on the website, but you're welcome to take those down. You'll see that the first report is coming up on the 10th of December, just before we break up. As I've said on screen there, guidance will be made available to tell you how to access that through the parent portal, but also it will give more detail about what's in the report to help you understand that yourself at home. If you still have further questions, you're welcome to contact your child's class teacher. You can see we've got our first round of parent-teacher conferences coming up in under a month now. You'll receive information about that soon and how you can book appointments for that. We've had a lot of talk here at school about trying to balance the dates for these. We do feel at the moment it's quite a good balance of keeping you updated frequently throughout the year, but it is something we are always reviewing. I think it's one of those where we have to accept we'll never please every single parent on the dates of those, but I promise you we do our best on that. You may well be familiar with how to access reports. We will be providing a guide, as I've said a few times, to help anyone that's never done it before. As you can see, reports can be printed at home, but as a school, we only provide a digital copy through the parent portal. Again, you're welcome to click on the link. It will take you directly to email somebody if you do have any questions about the training portal. At the end of the presentation, you'll find that I've included these FAQs. I'll talk through them briefly now, but it might be something that you have further questions about that you want to see myself in this debate at the end of the presentation. Okay. I wanted to make sure that these are on there so that you can refer to them in your own time. I will go down through them. The assessment trackers are not sent home, but you are welcome to ask your child's class teacher about them when you meet with them. We just feel some of the information in there, if it's taken out of context, it can be a bit daunting what essentially means, and we like to explain that as best we can face to face. Okay, number 2 up there, you might have that situation where your child has dropped down a band for one of the topics within maths or English. It can be a little bit alarming. As I've said there, children don't unfortunately just move in a linear line as they start in nursery and leave us at the end of secondary school. They do sometimes fluctuate. Okay? It naturally causes concern for parents, and we would encourage you to discuss that with your child's teacher and see if there is any support that needs to take place. Our assessment trackers, you can get number 3 there, our assessment trackers are designed so that they would only include judgment that the teacher has included. It's not that the more data they put on, the higher the child will go. It is a cumulative system. I really want to draw your attention again to that last point on the screen. A child is making steady progress if they are staying at the same attainment level. That's something that many schools and many parents have had to get used to that idea since the levels were moved by the UK government. Okay, in the past, you could see that your child moved up to a different level. Now the idea is that they would stay at the same band. If they were to drop a band, that you might want to ask questions about whether their progress is slow. At the top there, I've hopefully said this morning that we are doing lots of work to try and increase the robustness and the reliability of the information that we are providing to you. Lots of schools have had to go through the same thing. As I said, this year we are trialling the GL assessment, which we hope will bring that standardised element to our formative assessment that we do day in, day out in the classroom. If you receive your report and you've got questions about it, I would encourage you first to approach the class teacher and speak to them. If you still are left with questions after that, then you can look in the parents' handbook, and there is a chain of contact that you can follow there. Okay? That goes right through year group leader, then whoever's responsible for the key stage your child's in, right up to Mr. Bain. Yes. That's the hope with it, yes.
So, my question is that through the report assessment with the table of skill and so on, how is the GL assessment going to be incorporated in
Yeah.
the
So,
presentation?
So at the moment we're going to be using the GL to ensure the reliability of our day-to-day assessment system. The tests that the children are sitting at progress tests, they're not summative end-of-year assessments. Although they're taken at the end of the year, they're to try and show progress from one year to the next. They're not intended to be used as this is the exact level your child is working at. So we're going to be using them to try and boost the robustness of the day-to-day formative assessment tool we're using. It's something that I'll be able to update parents on more throughout the year, I'm sure, as I can share information with teachers. As I said, it's just a trial at the moment, and once we've got all that information in, we'll look at how best we can use it. David, thank you for asking that. I'm sure that's a question many people have. I do have to include the last point on there, I'm afraid, about if anybody doesn't receive their reports. As long as all fees are paid up to date, then the report should be on the parent portal. If you do have any questions, then you're welcome to use the email address that I showed on the previous slide. That does bring to the end the formal part of this, of me presenting to you, but as I said, there is some time now. You're welcome to discuss things with other parents around you, and if you would like to approach Mr. Bain or I afterwards, then please feel free to. We'll be here for another 10 to 15 minutes, so hopefully take that time now to come and ask any questions.